Okay, and welcome to the first of our new videos during remote learning. Today's lesson we're going to do is about polygons. Now, polygons is related to 2D space, and that's what we're going to learn about over the next few weeks. There's a lot of things about 2D space, so let's get started on what is a polygon. In today's lesson, we'll learn what makes a polygon, and we're going to determine the difference between what makes a regular polygon and what is an irregular polygon. Okay, because quite a lot of you would have heard the word polygon, but maybe you can't explain what it means. So we're going to make sure by the end of today, that's one of our goals, is that you could maybe turn to one of your parents and explain to them what a polygon is and the difference between a regular polygon and an irregular polygon. So before we start, the word polygon comes from a Greek word, two Greek words actually joined together, poly, which means many, and gon, which means angles, which basically means many angles. And so when we look at what makes a polygon, there's a few things that a shape has to have in order to be a polygon. One of the things that a shape has to have in order to be a polygon is it has to be a two-dimensional shape. Cannot be a 3D shape, has to be a 2D shape. The second feature that a polygon needs to have is that it has to have at least 3 sides. Okay, so you can't have a two-sided polygon. There is possible ways of having a two-sided shape. If you had like a semicircle, that could be a two-sided shape. But that's why you need to look at the third feature, which is the sides must be straight. So the sides must be straight, which means a semicircle wouldn't actually work because one of the sides is rounded. So in order for something to be a polygon, then the sides have to be straight, which basically means with 3 sides, the smallest polygon you can have is a triangle. And the last thing is a polygon needs to be closed in. It can't have any open edges. Okay, so we're going to go through that now to make sure we understand what each of those features means. So, a 2D shape. So basically we're talking about here, simple. So let me get the right pen up here. Let me get rid of the ruler. Let me figure out how to do that first. That one, I think that's it. Yep, all right, let me get rid of the ruler. So a 2D shape, so it has to be, that's not gonna work. Let's try that. Yep, a 2D shape. Obviously my drawing skills are not the best, but bear with me. That would be a 2D shape, but if you had a shape block like that, that would not be considered a polygon because it is 3-dimensional. Okay, so the first thing is it needs to be 2-dimensional. Secondly, let me see if I can get rid of this ruler. Not really sure how I did it, and now I can't really seem to get rid of it. So bear with me for a second. Oh, there we go, got rid of it. Okay, has to have at least 3 sides. So like I said before, that sort of shape would not be considered to be a polygon because there's only 2 sides. So anything to do with 3 sides, like a triangle, square, rectangle, pentagon, and so on and so on. Now obviously my drawings are very, very poor, and judging by the next feature, you'll see that that wouldn't actually make sense what I'm drawing, because the next feature is that the shapes have to have straight lines. Okay, so all the shapes I've drawn so far have not been 100% straight. Let's try to fix that up a little bit. And let's try and see if I could do one. Okay, like that. Once again, bear with me. Drawing is not my strong suit. Okay, that's as close as I can get to a square. The lines have to be straight. So if you had a triangle in which you had like that, or a score, those things are not straight lines. So this one here, straight line, which means that is another one of the features. Now the last feature of my polygons that has to be closed in. What that means is you can't have that or that or that. All the shapes need to be closed in and go all the way around. Okay, so that's the last feature of a polygon. Okay, so polygons you could have would be triangles, quadrilaterals, pentagons, hexagons, octagons, as far as you can name it, they are all polygons. Let's look at the difference between what a regular polygon is and an irregular polygon. Now, a regular polygon, sorry, just let me get that off the screen for a sec. Okay, a regular polygon, all the sides are straight, which we already knew. But in a regular polygon, all the sides are the same length. And all the inside angles are the same. Okay, so think about a square. In a square, all the sides are the same length, and all the angles are all 90 degrees, which adds up to 360. Whereas in an irregular polygon, all the sides are straight, because it has to be. Some of the sides in an irregular polygon are going to be different lengths, but not all of the interior angles are going to be the same. Let me explain how that works. Let's go back to this one. Okay, so let's take, for instance, let me draw that shape. Okay, if I'm drawing a square, all of these sides are the same length. Okay, and all of these inside, oops, sorry about that. All of the inside angles, I'm not really sure what's going on, all of the inside angles are all right angles because they're all 90 degrees. Okay, they all add up to 360. But not all four-sided shapes are going to have the same length. If you think about a trapezium, oops, sorry about that. Once again, sorry for the drawing. Okay, has it got straight lines? Yes, tick. Has it got more than 3 lines? Tick. Is it closed in? Tick. But are all the sides the same length? Well, that's no. These two sides are the same length, but these ones here, those two ones up the top and the bottom, are not the same length. Only the ones on the side are, and if you're going to measure these angles would be the same, and these ones would be the same, but they are not all the same, which means this shape here is irregular. Let's try another. We could have 2 different types of triangles. Now, once again, if my drawing has been poor before, just wait till you see this equilateral triangle, which is going to be very, very bad, but let's give it a go. Okay, let's say I was a good drawer and I could draw a shape in which all those lengths are straight and they're the same length. Now, all these angles would be the same, which would both be 60, 60, and 60, because all triangle inside angles add up to 180. Now, this is a regular triangle, but irregular triangles could be lots of different things. You could have a right angle triangle, you could have a scalene triangle, which we're going to get to later, in which some of the sides are different lengths. And you can clearly see here that this angle up here is much smaller than this angle here. So because all the inside angles are not all the same and all the lengths of the sides of the shapes are not the same, these are considered irregular. Okay, go through a bit more. Okay, so if we have a look at these shapes here, we can see on this side, we have the regular polygons and then the irregular polygons. So if we look over here, let me get my, yep, cool. If we look over here, we can see equilateral triangles have 3 equal sides and 3 equal angles. Squares have 4 equal sides. This is a regular pentagon, which has 5 equal sides and 5 equal angles. A regular hexagon, 6 sides and 6 equal angles. Then we have a heptagon and an octagon. Over here, we can see with irregular shapes, they don't all have the same sides. We've got isosceles, right angle, and scalene triangles. Once again, we're going to get to those ones soon, but not today. Then we have irregular quadrilaterals, which is sides with different lengths, shapes with different length sizes. And then we have pentagons, which could be irregular, hexagons, which could be irregular, heptagons, and octagons. People wouldn't think, just looking at this, just because it doesn't look like an octagon, that is an octagon, but it is still an octagon because it has 8 sides, but it is an irregular octagon because it does not have the same angles inside, and all the sides are not the same length. Okay, so overview of today's lesson. Any shape with 3 or more sides that are straight and closed in is a polygon. Triangles, squares, hexagons, you name it. As long as they're straight lines and that they're more than 3 sides and that they're closed in, it's a polygon. But if those lengths of the sides or angles inside are not exactly the same as each other, then the shape is an irregular polygon. Okay, so if your triangle isn't an equilateral triangle, it's an irregular polygon. If your hexagon has got 5 sides, but the sides are different lengths, then it's an irregular polygon. Okay, so we're gonna keep going with this week, and we're gonna keep going with more lessons and talk about different types of triangles and quadrilaterals. But I hope this has helped. If you think there is any ways besides me becoming a better drawer that I can make my lessons better, please make sure you let me know. Thanks for watching.